This is before child services was the number one jokers out here type shit. You know what I'm saying? Not no disrespect, but like you had to like survive first.
Yeah, nah, it was different. It was different. It was especially in New York City back in those days, right? We're talking about the crack era taking like a serious hold of the city, and just the way that the I always tell people when you see Warriors, that's really what New York City was like at one point.
100%.
Like people used to dead like the gangs were not afraid of the cops at all. The cops were afraid of the gangs, and people would assault cops all the time and get
Yeah,
away.
they didn't want to smoke. They didn't want to smoke.
Like
And,
regularly.
and,
It
and like you
wasn't until
talking about
later.
the crack, like I came through like the dope, the heroin era right into the crack, right? So when you talk about my neighborhood, Alphabet City, Lower East Side, like everything from Avenue A to Avenue D where I lived was a spot. Every block, every corner, you could pick up some smack, you could get a rock, you could get anything. And, you know, it was 80%, you know, abandoned buildings,
Yep.
rubble, and then everything else was a squatter's building, right? So the running water comes from the pump outside, and you run the hose upstairs through the joint, and that's how you was getting washed, you know?
Yeah.
When you go outside and play, there's needles, there's crack vials, there's niggas dead literally
Yep.
when you walk out your door in your building.
Yep.
And this is why Pro don't do the white stuff and he don't do the craziness, because I seen mega bodies.
Yeah.
And that was my anti-drug. You know what I'm saying? Was the fiend on my block who I seen underneath a car poking with a stick for 3 hours, trying to pick up little white things, hoping he could find a rock or looking for something he never lost. And so like people be like, "Oh, you're not gonna party?" No, I'm not gonna fucking party, dog. I'll put up what I'm gonna put up, but there's a limit for me because I understand like substance abuse, and I seen in my own family people die from substance abuse generationally, right? The father, the son, the grandson. You feel me? Institutionalization where you get incarcerated with your pops. You know what I mean? And so like they're generational curses until somebody figures out like, yo, I need to crack the code and I can't do what they did. You know what I mean? So like when I say like fiends is my anti-drug, like I will call names, but I don't want to disrespect nobody, but they know who they are. They my anti. You know what I'm saying? And then when the, you know, and then you see on the other side of it, you see the biggest dealers on the block and they got everything. They got a whole floor in the building smashed out. You know what I'm saying? They got everybody's little sister, strung out on womp in and out of the crib. You know what I'm saying? Doing whatever. They got all your mans in them either looking out, either holding something, moving something. You know, it's a business. You feel me? Like the street side of it is also a business, and I done seen all that, and so like that is like that's the shit that keeps me sober and in my right mind and like focused on like being over here with this. And I don't think the kids nowadays really understand that because it's all virtualized and shit like that. It's not tangible, right? You're not having to walk out your door and step over them bodies and stuff, or at least is not as prevalent as it was at one time when they were just like, we're gonna abandon y'all to live over there, and y'all gonna just have to make do. You know what I mean? Like Flock said.
I think it's a what you call it, because I look at like my area of the Bronx and it's happening again, you know, and like people are like literally like sticking needles in their arms.
They strung out again.
Right
Dope
next
is back.
to this 149th Street and 3rd Avenue train station, which is like a major hub in the Bronx. Like in the morning at like 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, like right there in 2021. So it's just like, I think that it's just a matter of like, probably like, depends on who, right? Like if you a kid in the Bronx in 2021, you getting the same fucked up lesson that
you're getting the same education. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but you know, we also move in cycles, right? So there's no difference than what maybe kids in the 60s and the early 70s was feeling on the block too, right? And it's unfortunate that we as a society and as, you know, human beings, we can't learn and stand on the shoulders of our mistakes and evolve. but we will evolve up and then we'll regress, and it's like this constant cycle of things, you know, and so I'm just out here trying to break brains out of the cycle, you know what I'm saying, trying to like be the red pill. Fact.
But it explains why you're so passionate about it, and that's what I really like about it. Like everything you described is really, really serious. It is. There's not a lot of people that really, I think, especially in my age group or younger, really went through that, like to any kind of the degree.
That's a fact.
And it gets scaled back to at least, because at least in Montreal, like they hide it, right? Like they created safe places, and they made sure that you can't see it. Like whether it still happens to a degree, I don't know, but they definitely made efforts so that you don't ever encounter it like that in public no more. So none of us really see it like that, unless you happen to
Yeah,
be
of
in that
course,
one part of
man.
town, you know.
And that's the thing about New York City, right? And it's like, but you could get on the subway and go 2 stops and land on Park Avenue, and these motherfuckers got doormen. You know what I'm saying? Every building is pearly white. And this, at the same time, in parallel with the shit I'm telling you, is like there's people living their best lives. They go into to Long Island, out to Long Beach on the weekend, on the Hamptons and all that, and they could get out and come back to the doorman building and owning a brownstone and all this fly shit, because it's ultimately it's always about bread and the haves and the have-nots. You know what I'm saying? And so like they're gonna let us just crumble, fall, and fall, on our swords and on our drugs and on whatever it is the substances are that they pumping into the communities, And so it is dead real, Stephan. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, I'm one of the few dudes that I know that I used to ride bike with and play baseball with and all that. I was able to buy a house that's able to like take my son on a road trip and able to spend quality time with my kids and be like, yeah, we can go out to dinner and I could buy you whatever you want. You know what I mean? Right. And like I said, that's because my mom said she's gonna raise me in the house, and that happened with the stick, not the carrot, my dude. That's a fact.
Fair enough. So I guess that's a really huge environmental context for you being young.